Somebody's been practicing.
I just want to kick something.
So I never got around to playing the first State of Decay. So after buying State of Decay 2, I'm going in here with a fresh perspective, new pair of eyes looking at this game. So I've put in over 26 hours in the game, made it through the credits, and I'm finally ready to give up my thoughts on the game. So the whole concept behind State of Decay 2 is actually a pretty good one. You start out with 2 people. Your goal is to survive the zombie apocalypse by gathering up resources, meeting new people, building a community, and then supporting that community and growing it by getting bases large enough to house everybody, making sure that you're taking care of everybody's needs. So you got to make sure that they have plenty of medical supplies, food, water, electricity, ammo, fuel, all the basic things that you would need to survive a zombie apocalypse. And it's advantageous for you to build up a large community because each member can bring new skills to the group that allow you to build new components or to offer new options to the group. So for instance, you have a mechanic. They can build an auto shop, which lets you upgrade your vehicles so that they're beefier, they're faster. A gardener can help you add items to your garden to increase the yield so that you have more food. And a chemist can help you create new explosives and so on. So there's a ton of skills that people can either learn by reading books, or you can just find survivors, help them out, and they may already have some of this knowledge, and then you can kind of bring them into the fold. So you'll want to build your community up because as you go out and you're searching for resources or you're completing missions, your survivors are going to get tired, and so they'll get hurt and they're going to need rest. So what you'll find is that you're going to be playing all of the survivors, and so you rotate out and all the people that you add to your community are going to be people that you're going to be playing as long as, of course, they stay alive. And because your survivors have no respawns and death is permanent, it gives you a special sense of urgency when one of your players is low on health or is sick, and it makes you really want to help them out. Whereas a lot of games, if one of my people are dying, I'm like, okay, just give me somebody else. I don't even really care. But in this game, because you're trying to build up people's stats, you can put hours into a player, and so if they get into a tough situation, it kind of, gives you that anxiety because you want to get them out of there. You want to be sure that those people are safe. And you could end up losing hours of work if they do end up dying along the way. So again, all that on paper is awesome as far as I'm concerned. It's an awesome concept. And its implementation is done, I would say, fairly well. I wouldn't say that it's great, but I also wouldn't say that it's terrible. There's definitely some room for improvement. If it was terrible, I don't think I could have spent, as many hours as I did into the game. But as an example, searching for resources can be extremely slow and boring because even though there's an option to speed things up, and you can increase your skill where you're supposed to go a little bit faster, which to me, it really didn't make that much of a difference. But if you try to go fast, then you're likely to cause noise, which is going to bring in more zombies. That's going to slow you down even more than if you just had told it to go slow in the first place. And then running into resources and having to take those back and forth, whether you're taking them back to your car and having to switch out to your partner, AI that you brought along, not because they're useful, but just because you need their pockets so you can fill it with more stuff so you don't have to make as many trips. All of that can be extremely tedious in the game, and it's a large portion of the game, so you're going to be doing it a ton. So one of the main objectives in the game, actually, it's really the main objective if you want to really beat the game, is to kill these demon portals called plague hearts that are scattered all over the map. And while they're supposed to get harder as you destroy them over time, so like number 1 is supposed to be the easiest, and then they get progressively harder, and then let's say that there's 10 of them. I'm not sure how many there are. There might be 10 on the map, but the 10th one should be then the hardest. But once you figure out how to destroy them, it really gives you no sense of accomplishment because they're so easy to take out. I mean, literally, all you have to do is build up a handful of explosives, spam them at the portal, and you take them out in literally seconds before a zombie can usually even get to you. So, one of the main objectives in the game that's supposed to be difficult is actually super, super easy. And so, again, you kind of lose that sense of accomplishment after you've done it a few times. AI human enemies can be difficult if you try to beat them with something like a bat or a crowbar or something like that. But also, again, once you find out that you can just take them out with one headshot, they're super easy. And then the juggernauts are the most difficult item to kill in the game. But again, they have some things that make them really easy. For instance, once you figure out they can't walk into a house, all you got to do is stand in a doorway, and it's just super easy to take them out. The hardest part of the entire game for me was just making sure I had enough gas to get it back to my base without losing my vehicle, because it sucks if you're having to travel on foot. And even then, sometimes if you have gas, it's not enough because your vehicle will end up getting stuck on a rock or something that forces you to walk. My other biggest gripe about the gameplay is just the lack of variety. Lack of variety in missions, lack of variety in zombie types, even survivors. My community at the end of it had several survivors that looked the exact same. Like the only thing that was different was the names and the skills, but the face, the haircut, the build, the body type, everything was exactly the same. And so it's just little things like that that may not seem like a big deal. It may be minor to some people, but it's, for me, hard to kind of overlook because you're driving through and like you can literally kill thousands of zombies, but like there's only like 6 or 7 different looking ones. And so it's also annoying, like whenever you're driving through a fence, you kill a few zombies only to return 2 minutes later and the fence is repaired and all the zombies are back. And so they just keep on constantly respawning. But the biggest gripe overall about the game is what I covered in a video the other day about the quality of it, the bugs. And in my video the other day, I showed a ton of different bugs. But since that video was made, I've actually probably encountered 15 or 20 more. So I could make a part 2 video showing brand new, all new bugs that you didn't see in the first video. Everything from being warped under a car, having my HUD display completely disappear, usually at the worst time possible whenever I'm fighting. So I couldn't see how to heal myself. Having my AI teammates completely disappear on me so that I couldn't see where they were or what they were doing. So I couldn't find them to actually switch to them while I was in the mission. I've had missions not launching when they should, driving, hitting invisible walls right beside the road. The game's a mess. And it's such a shame because you run into them so much that it overshadows the good part of the game oftentimes. I lost survivors and hours of work due to bugs, which is inexcusable. I also thought that the ending was extremely weak. It seems like they're just like, okay, well, we got to end it some way, so let's just throw this in here. Once you finish the last mission, it lets you bring 3 survivors with you to begin this, quote, new adventure, but it puts you back on the same exact map you just finished. Except now everything is reset back to 0 and you're starting over except for what you had on you. Now, there's 3 maps in the game, so why you don't start on one of the other new maps that you haven't played is just, to me, terrible game design. So now, if I do decide to continue to play, I'm going to have to build my base up, upgrade the command center just to be able to leave to go find a new map with my survivors. I think it's just a poor design choice, and it's like so many little things adding up over time that become super annoying with this game. The game has a lot of issues, but at the same time, I did have fun with it. I know that may sound crazy, right? Like, how can you criticize it but still have fun with it? Like, I know that blows some people's minds, that you can criticize a game for its bad parts but still enjoy the good parts of it. So I did have to overlook a whole lot, But it was addicting trying to gather survivors, build up to get one of the biggest bases on the map. And like I said, I loved the concept. The implementation was just okay, and the bugs were ridiculous. But I had fun. Did I have enough fun to continue another playthrough on one of the other maps? Like, am I going to build up my command center and try to move forward? I'm really not sure at this point. I'm still honestly debating if I want to go through this loop again, because like I said, it does get kind of repetitive after a while. So I may just take a break and at the very least wait for a patch to clear up some of these issues that I'm seeing with the game. So at the end of the day, do I think it's a buy, rent, which in this case would be Game Pass, or should you stay away? And I'd put it squarely in the rent. Get Game Pass. Do not buy this game in its current form. I don't think, games like this should be rewarded whenever they're released in this state. So I definitely wouldn't buy it. But for $10, you can rent it, try it out for a month. If it's not your taste, then surely with all the other games that are on Game Pass, you can find something to play and enjoy with your time. But especially if you think a zombie apocalypse RPG sounds like something you may be interested in, I would say try it out. But for me, it was a very flawed game, but yet a fun game. So that does it for me, the Red Dragon. Post your thoughts down below on Decay 2, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.